Welcome to Group Study by One, reading the New Testament in original Greek. Today we're going to read Matthew from chapter 1, verse 1 to verse 17. I intend to have the video about 10-15 minutes, but since we're covering the whole genealogy from verse 1 to 17, it will take a little more than 15 minutes today. But as you know, the syntax of these 17 verses is pretty simple. That's why I'm trying to cover the whole genealogy altogether. Let's read verse 1. Βίβλος γενέσεως Ιησού Χριστού, ουιού David, ουιού Avram. A book of genealogy of Jesus Christ, of son David, of son Abraham. Vivlos, without definite article, it's a book. And geneseos is from the noun genesis, and it's in a genitive form. If you don't know the genitive forms, you can look it up in the dictionary of Genesis. Then it will show in the dictionary with the epsilon, omega, sigma next to the Genesis, which means this is the genitive form. Isu Christou, it's also in a genitive form, so you know that it's connected to the geneseos together. Uyu, it's also in a genitive form of son David. And in many of the English Bible translations, you will see the son of David, the son of Abraham. But in Greek, it's written here as of son David and of son Abraham. Of course, the meaning, it's as the English Bible translations have used. Verse 2. Avram εγέννησεν τον Isaac. Isaac δε εγέννησεν τον Ιακώβ. Ιακώβ δε εγέννησεν τον Ιουδάν και τους αδελφούς αυτού. Abraham gave birth to Isaac. Isaac, however, gave birth to Yaakov. Yaakov, however, gave birth to Judan and his brothers. Abraham is the subject. Egennisen is from the verb genau, with augmentation epsilon in the front and a sigma. Of course, it indicates it's an aorist. So Abraham gave birth to Isaac. In English, it's a to Isaac. But here in Greek, it's genau accompanies an accusative, an object. So technically, it's Abraham gave birth Isaac. But of course, then in English translations, it has to be gave birth to Isaac. Isaac, however, it means but, and sometimes it means and. And many of English translations use, in the Bibles and translations use and, but I think here in the sense of however, but. So the meaning would be Abraham gave birth to Isaac, but Isaac gave birth to Yaakov. However, Yaakov gave birth to Judan, etc., etc. Judas de εγέννησεν τον Φάρες και τον Ζάρα εκ της Θαμάρ. Φάρες δε εγέννησεν τον Εσρόμ. Εσρόμ δε εγέννησεν τον Αράμ. Judas, however, gave birth to Phares and Zara by Thamar. Phares, however, gave birth to Esrom. Esrom, however, gave birth to Aram. Excuse me. The syntax is pretty much clear. X gave birth to Y. We have additional information here. Ektis Thamar, ek, preposition, means from, out of. So from Thamar, Judas gave birth to Phares and Zara. Then English translation would be by Thamar. Verse 4. Aram δε εγέννησεν τον Αμιναδάβ. Αμιναδάβ δε εγέννησεν τον Νασόν. Nason δε εγέννησεν τον Salmon. Aram, however, gave birth to Aminadab. Aminadab, however, gave birth to Nason. Nason, however, gave birth to Salmon. Verse 5. Salmon the egenisent ton Voes ectis Rahab. Voes the egenisent ton Jovid ectis Ruth. Jovid the egenisent ton Yese. Salmon, however, gave birth to Voes by Rahab. Voes, however, gave birth to Jovid by Ruth. Jovid, however, gave birth to Issei. An English translation, Issei, is Jesse, Jesse. And in a modern Greek reading, it would be Issei, with the alpha iota diphthongs makes the pronunciations A. As you can see, the English translations is pretty close to a modern way of reading it. Verse 6. Issei the egenisent ton David, ton Basilea. David the egenisent ton Solomona, ectis tu Udiu. Issei, however, gave birth to the King David. David, however, gave birth to Solomon by Uriah. Don David, Don Basilea is both an accusative. So technically, it's a Don Basilea David. You can write it in this way, and also you can write it in a separate way. In a meaning, it doesn't make any differences. But the emphasis, you could actually put an emphasis with this two separate accusative form. Don David, Don Basilea. It's the King David. Verse 7. Solomon the egenisent ton Roboam. Roboam the egenisent ton Avia. Avia the egenisent ton Asav. Solomon, however, gave birth to Roboam. Roboam, however, gave birth to Avia. Avia, however, gave birth to Asav. Verse 8. Asav the egenisent ton Josaphat. Josaphat the egenisent ton Joram. Joram the egenisent ton Uzzian. Asaph, however, gave birth to Josaphat. Josaphat, however, gave birth to Joram. Joram, however, gave birth to Uzziah. Verse 9. Ozias the egenisent ton Joatham. Joatham the egenisent ton Azach. Azach the egenisent ton Ezekian. Ozias, however, gave birth to Joatham. Joatham, however, gave birth to Azach. Ahaz. Ahaz, however, gave birth to Ezekiah. Verse 10. Ezekias the egenisen ton Manassi. Manassis the egenisen ton Amos. Amos the egenisen ton Josian. Ezekias, however, gave birth to Manassi. Manassi, however, gave birth to Amos. Amos, however, gave birth to Josiah. So far, we have the same syntax. X give birth to Y. Verse 11. Josias the egenisen ton Jechonian. Ketus adelphus avtu. Epitis metikesias Vavilonus. Josias, however, gave birth to Jechonian and his brothers during the time of deportation to Babylon. In the front, it is also the same syntax. X gave birth to Y. We have extra information. Epitis metikesias. Epi, it's a preposition. When it comes with the genitive, it usually means at the time of. Metikesias, it's from the noun metikesia. It's the deportation, but usually means resettlement, a change of the habitation. With informations of Babylonos, with Babylon, We know that it's talking about the Babylon captivity. So epidis should be translated in the sense of during. So during the deportations of Babylon. Verse 12. Μετά δε τη μετεκεσίαν Βαβυλώνος Ιεχονίας εγέννησεν τον Salathiel. Salathiel δε εγέννησεν τον Zorobabel. After the deportation to Babylon, Jehoniah gave birth to Salathiel. Salathiel, however, gave birth to Zorobabel. After the deportation we talked about in verse 11. After the deportation to Babylon, Jehoniah continues the genealogy. The genealogy, excuse me, the genealogy in verse 11. So we have a little bit different informations in 1 Chronicle 3:15 and 16. But this is if you have extra times, you can read the text and compare and contrast the differences. It would be an interesting things to look at it. Verse 13. Zorobabel δε εγέννησεν τον Aviud. Aviud δε εγέννησεν τον Eliakim. Eliakim δε εγέννησεν τον Azor. Zorobabel, however, gave birth to Aviud. Aviud, however, gave birth to Eliakim. Eliakim, however, gave birth to Azor. Verse 14. Azor δε εγέννησεν τον Zadok. Zadok δε εγέννησεν τον Achim. Achim δε εγέννησεν τον Eliud. Azor, however, gave birth to Zadok. Zadok, however, gave birth to Achim. Achim, however, gave birth to Eliud. Verse 15. Eliud δε εγέννησεν τον Eleazar. Eleazar δε εγέννησεν τον Mathan. Mathan δε εγέννησεν τον Yaakov. Eliud, however, gave birth to Eleazar. Eleazar, however, gave birth to Mathan. Mathan, however, gave birth to Yaakov. Verse 16. Yaakov δε εγέννησεν τον Ιωσήφ, τον άντρα Μαρίας. Εξής εγεννήθη Ιησού ο λεγόμενος Χριστός. Yaakov, however, gave birth to Yosef, the man of Maria. Of course, here means the husband of Maria. Exis. Is an feminine form, and again in a genitive, which indicates, of course, Maria. So by Maria, egenithi. It's and from the verb again now with the augmentation and the theta. We know this is in an aorist and in a passive form. Who is the subject? Jesus. Jesus. So Jesus was born by Maria. Olegomenos, with the definite articles and a participle. You can translate here Jesus who was called, or who is called, Christos, Christ. So O with in masculine definite articles with a participle, it makes them a person who's being called. So of course in this case it's Jesus. Verse 17. Πάσε ουνε γενναίε από Αβραάμ έως Δαβίδ, γενναίε 14, και από Δαβίδ έως της μετεκεσίας Βαβυλώνος, γενναίε 14, και από της μετεκεσίας Βαβυλώνος έως του Χριστού, γενναίε 14. Then all the generations from Abraham until David, 14 generations, and from David until the deportation to Babylon, 14 generations, And from the deportation to Babylon until Christ, 14 generations. As you have noticed in Greek, we're missing verbs. In English translation, you can see sometimes the translators have inserted the verbs. The generations were or are, but here in Matthew, it's not writing any verbs. Passe is from the word pas. Pas is when it's used in a singular. It means every, each. When it's used in a plural, it means all or all things. Together with the egene, it's all the generations from Abraham to David. Of course, here we're missing the verb, the 14 generations. So 14 generations, 14 generations, and another 14 generations until Christ. So Matthew is trying to summarize the whole genealogy that he talked about from verse 2 to 16 and 17. So he's making a pinpoint: Abraham, David, deportation, and Christ. There's theological discussions, of course, then it's discussion for another time.